Hi there, welcome and welcome back to my channel. This is Chris. I hope you are doing amazing since last time we saw each other last week on my review of the Fujinon 23mm f1.4, which you can find up here if you didn't watch it yet. I answered a lot of questions in that video, but a bunch of additional questions came up regarding video functions and focusing on real life humans, like on actual tracking, as well as other questions regarding the fact that some of you already own the original existing f1.4 model or the f2 version, and you're wondering if you should upgrade or if you shouldn't, and what are my thoughts. Well, I'm gonna answer all that in this video in just a little moment. Okay, first things first, we're gonna start with the video tracking functions. This is something I didn't cover in my last video. I was mainly tracking something by tapping the screen for the focusing, but now let's see how it tracks human beings in real life. So in this first test, we're gonna see how it performs indoor in this studio with controlled lighting, and we're gonna do it at f5.6 for all three lenses. I want to mention the fact that there might be a firmware update for this newly released f1.4 version because it does not perform nearly as good as I would expect it to perform. Here you go. In this next sequence here is gonna be the same thing, but we're gonna do it at f1.4 or f2 for the f2 version, obviously. But it is indoor in the studio, so you can see a little bit how the background reacts, the depth of field, the focus hunting, and so on and so forth. And again, you will see that the older version is better than the new version, which makes no sense to me. Here you go. All right, now we're gonna see how it performs for finding the focus on someone's face. So what I did is I got my son to jump and to see how fast it actually finds his face and if he does a lot of focus hunting or not. So here you go. Now on these next videos coming up, I shot them with my X-T3. By the way, that's the camera I use for all the shots throughout this video, the same exact X-T3, which is right here, this guy. And I put it on the Ronin SC. Now I couldn't put the Ronin SC using the F2 model because it's too light and it was doing vibrations. It couldn't calibrate because it would not detect the lens because it was really too light, so it could not balance. So what I did is I used the old f1.4 and the new f1.4 so you can see which one performs the best. Now this series was shot again outdoor with a cloudy sky. This was shot at f8. The reason why I shot f8 is because I don't have ND filters for all 3 different filter thread sizes. So I had to adapt to what I had. Now you can see in a cloudy environment how the lens performs. It's just to give you some ideas, some extra scenarios where this lens is being used, and you can see which one of the 3 performs the best. Now, what do I think about this newly released 23mm f1.4? I think Fuji is trying to reach perfection, okay? And that is great, that is a good thing. The old f1.4 model had a lot of flaws, be it in terms of focusing speed, in terms of sharpness, and other such flaws. And I do say flaws with air quotes because I personally think that the original model was flawed in a good way, meaning it was more organic, it was more different, it differed from lens to lens, and it was not perfect, which in turn gave you a very interesting depth of field, very interesting bokeh, and very interesting rendition of the photos. That was, again, more organic. The new model is going to be perfect, and I think it's future-proof from the standpoint that with the new sensors that are coming out, which I'm not going to tell you more about, but with what's coming out, we want to have a lens that goes well with it and that's able to use that real estate, that sensor size. So I think it's gonna look better on the new cameras than the old version, if you will. Now, it's like if you ask me, do you prefer the X-T2, the X-T3, or the X-T1? Well, it depends. Sometimes I use the X-T2, for example, for real estate. I like how the X-T2 renders the images. I do lose a couple megapixels, but I prefer how the photos look straight out of the X-T2 rather than the X-T3. So it really is a matter of what kind of grain, what kind of quality, what type of rendition do you like? Now, the thing you need to ask yourself is, do you need those extra features and those new improvements that came out on the new model? I know it's hard to think with that, and it's cool to have the latest and greatest, but do you actually need the weather resistance? Because otherwise you can just go for the F2 model. Do you need the linear motors? Because if you don't need that focusing speed and accuracy and you just shoot for the pleasure of shooting, then the old version is totally fine. I know it's a little bit anti buying the new model, but I want to make sure that you understand that the new one is not necessarily going to make you a better photographer. Actually, it's not going to make you a better photographer. It's not going to improve your photography because it's the new one. What it will improve is if you're into shooting things where you need accuracy, such as a wedding, for example, or sports, or I don't know, fast moving animals or something where you need it, or kids, even for kids. If you need it for things like that, then yes, the faster focusing speed is great. Or if you shoot a lot outdoor, you're in a place that's humid or dusty, then yes, weather resistance is great. But otherwise, if you ask me, should you upgrade from the old model? If you actually love that old model, just keep your old model, honestly. I don't think you're gonna see that much of a contrast and sharpness. I mean, yes, you will, but do you need that contrast and that sharpness? You know, it's a little bit of a, I can't judge for everyone. I can't tell you yes or no, you should take it. But I think if you like the results from your old 23 or the 23 f2, and you don't need that extra stop of light or that extra speed for focusing, then just keep it. That's what I think. That should answer most of you guys' questions on, is it worth the upgrade? I realized that I spoke for a bit here, but I just wanted to make sure, make it clear that this is my opinion, this is my thoughts. I didn't want to be biased when I made the original version, the original video up here, but I think it is important for me to tell you what I think about this newly released 23 f1.4. There, I hope I answered all the extra questions you guys had. If I did not, write it down in the comment section below. Like always, I'll try to answer ASAP. And until my next video, take care, keep smiling, keep shooting, keep having fun, basically. Happy Easter, because it's the Easter weekend, and I see you soon. Bye.